Hello, everybody. We've got an article from the Times that I'm going to talk to you about today. You can join us at Jesters or buy me a coffee or become a warrior teacher, or just subscribe and share this. This is an important one. As many of you know, I'm already completely fetlocked. Is that a word? I don't know. But I'm completely ghost banned on Twitter. So the only way I've got of getting the message out is if you share this directly from YouTube onto Twitter or Facebook yourselves. And I'd ask you if you would, please, because I think this one's important. It's from the Times on the 25th of October. Transgender clinics for children in thrall to ideology. And it's written by James Beale, who is the social affairs editor. Thank you very much, James, for this article. For those of you who aren't up to speed, there's such a thing going on called the Cash Review, and the Cash Review is looking at, gender nonsense and what's going on with it all, and how it's affecting the NHS, which, believe me, it is, right? On an extraordinary scale. You can barely move for lanyards and rainbows and all the nonsense that comes with it. So that's what the Cash Review is reviewing, the clinical evidence. Now, I've always maintained, and still do, it's not wide enough. I think we need a Royal Commission to examine all of the nonsense, critical race theory. We need a Royal Commission to get it out of our society altogether. But this is something that is unbelievably worrying and needs bringing to the public attention as widely as possible. The NHS has been urged to drive out ideology infiltrating its services after an investigation into new transgender clinics for children. So the investigation was done by Kathleen Stock. Some of you will be familiar with Kathleen Stock. If you're not, Kathleen was hounded out of her university position and has since become one of the main speakers on this topic. Kathleen is, I believe, a professor in philosophy. The new regional hubs. So what they did was, the Tavistock was so bad, so homophobic, they closed it, right? They closed, in the interim cash report, which was released, they closed the Tavistock clinic, and it should be closing very shortly. However, what's happened is they're opening up more. Now, my view is scorched earth on this. They shouldn't exist at all. But from our perspective, we have to really be concerned that what Kathleen has found needs to be out in the public arena as widely as possible. Please do share. She revealed last week that new regional hubs, which are set to treat trans youngsters, no such thing, let's get that straight, trans youngsters next year, included staff from the Tavistock clinic, the one that I just mentioned was closed down. The hubs will replace the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust's Gender Identity Development Service, or GIDS, they're closing that, which is to close after a damning review by Dr. Hilary Cass. So GIDS is part of the Tavistock, it's the part that's closing. Stock, in her investigation for the Unheard website, there's a great article by Kathleen Stock on Unheard, I'm sure I mentioned it before, I'll put all the links in the Dubris, all right? Discovered that trans activist lobby groups and networks were strongly vocal in all of the NHS trusts involved in the new clinics. Until we address the parasitic nature of these organisations and the people that are invested in it, in the NHS, nothing is going to change. They will continue to convert gay children, and there's nothing that we can do about it. That's the grimmest perspective I can come with this. The new hubs for treating transgender children, there's no such thing as a transgender child, the Times. You need to correct that. There are only children in distress, okay? They were being staffed with practitioners who approve of affirming the chosen gender of youngsters. So the cultists are actually in the new hubs. What the hell are we doing? Stephanie Davis-Arai, the director of Transgender Trend, which campaigns for evidence-based treatment of children with gender dysphoria, said yesterday, it feels like there is Dr. Hilary Cass on the one hand, trying to get the service back to normal standards of paediatric care and evidence-based medicine. And on the other hand, you seem to have a completely ideologically captured NHS and regional trusts who are undermining that work. Ideology should be kept out of the NHS. We are going to need to get, the government needs to do something about this. Labour aren't going to. Don't for 1 second think Labour aren't going to. You may well have seen my Jester special about the problems we got with the email they sent out about their equality meetings. Cass's review of the Tavistock Gender Clinic in London last year found that it was not a safe or viable long-term option and should close. The clinic was accused of rushing teenagers into life-altering treatment on hormone-blocking drugs. It is not offering appointments, but it has yet to close its doors. The clinic has been rated as inadequate by inspectors in 2020. That should be it. You're done. Kathleen Stock, 51. Why that's relevant, I don't know. A gender-critical feminist. Scrubs up well, our Kath, doesn't she? A gender-critical feminist who was forced out of the University of Sussex in 2021, revealed last week that Polly Carmichael remained in charge of GIDS. This is surreal. You imagine a business, right, that got somebody, an external consultant, sort of stuff I used to do, and said, right, have a look at the business, see what's going on. And they came back and said, look, it's wholly inadequate, you're going to lose money and all that stuff. Here's who you need to get rid of first. That's how it would work. Not here. It's like some Russian state, and it's like, like Russia, some Russian sort of, communist clique. We'll just move them sideways, move on, comrade. It's exactly what it is. Carmichael oversaw its first trial of puberty blockers, a type of hormone therapy that halts the development of children as a way of treating their gender distress. That's what they did to Turin, to chemically castrate him. Following her investigation, a spokesman for the NHS Children's and Young People's Gender Service London said it was working towards full mobilisation of the new service by the beginning of April 2024. I do not believe that between now, which we're in October, it's the end of October for God's sake, that we are going to be able to get rid of these people unless somebody goes in full-on machete mode, Full-on machete mode. And then the government will have to deal with the unions who are culpable in this. Unison being one of them, culpable in this. The individual who said that they were working towards full mobilisation also said, we are focused on recruitment, training and ensuring good data collection, which supports the developing research, and progress made in this area will determine how quickly it will be possible to start seeing new patients. Who's doing the training then? If you've got the nutters in, who's doing the training? If the people that are ideologically possessed by this are in, who's doing the training? An NHS spokesman said the NHS has clearly laid out how it will implement advice from the cash review and is fully supporting providers to establish new services for children and young people that offer a fundamentally different model of care. I'm sick of this now. Sick of it. All this time that we've been fanning about with this, and Cass has done an amazing job because I imagine she's having a hard time. And somebody gave me the name of a bloke called Palmer, who's got something to do with all this. Can't find much out about him at all. Anybody know anything, let me know. Right, called Palmer. Particularly if you work closely with the bloke, I want to know how deep he is in this. So Cass is, I think, Stephanie Davis-Rye is right. Cass is to some degree isolated in this, in what she's attempting to do and what she's attempting to achieve. I absolutely think that's true. Right, that there are ideologues all over the place, and we've got to get rid of them. Right now, how's that going to happen? You tell me how that's going to happen by April 2024. It's not going to happen. It's not while Unison exports it. If you try and do anything about it, Unison will jump all over you. You leave our members alone with their asexuality and their, bobbins, nonsense, blue hair and nose rings. Right, whatever it may be that they are, I don't care, frankly. This isn't going to stop. It's going to continue. They open new hubs. Those new hubs are infected. They're infected by ideologues. And that means those ideologues are going to convert gay children. And children who aren't, who are just distressed. The most vulnerable in our society are going to continue to be given drugs. Even if it's under a clinical trial, which I think will never happen, to be honest. But yet the idea is still sitting there in the NHS. It has to be eradicated completely. We can't take our foot off the brake. Repeal the GRA. Get it out of the Equality Act. And ensure that gender identity ideology and the idea of gender has no place in any NHS provision of any kind. And I'm going to need the big boys and the big girls to do this as well, because I want to know, Sex Matters, Gen Spect, all the big guys leading the field, are you going to come out against the GRA? Are you going to come out against the inclusion of gender in the Equality Act? And are you going to say, with voices stentorian, it has no place in the NHS whatsoever, it doesn't exist, all you've got is unwell, confused people? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to come out and say that? Because we need you to. We need you to. Gender identity doesn't exist. It does not exist. Gender dysphoria does not exist. It is body dysmorphia, it is social contagion, it is fetishism, it is paraphilia, and it is mental illness. And it's time we all bloody said so. Then we can call for the removal of the Gender Recognition Act. Then we can call for the removal of gender recognition from the Equality Act altogether and end this butchery of children on the state penny. Because that's what's going to be happening if we're not careful. Get these ideologues gone. Get the entire lot out of the system. It's the only way forward now. So I ask again, Sex Matters, GenSpect, Gay Men's Network, every organisation that is currently involved in the scrap that we're having, the Jester's saying to you, what are you going to say? And that is his job, right? It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. We need to take a far harder line than we are taking now. Far harder. Same goes for this nonsense in schools. Parents need to be going, you teach this to my kid and I'm removing my kid and suing the ass off you. That's what parents need to be doing. Safe Schools Matters knows this. Bayswater Sport, they know it. Our duty, well on the game. I'm asking the question of all of you. For God's sake, make a declarative statement. I know some of you already have. Make a declarative statement. This has to end. And the only way to end it is the repeal of the GRA, get it out of the Equality Act, primary legislation to ensure that gender identity never interferes with our society again, and Bob's your uncle, Fan is your aunt. Maybe that's the way. You tell me in the comments. Either way, this is serious, because they are setting up new abattoirs for gay conversion therapy. If not, that's what I'm scared about. But it'll only be under a clinical trial. I don't think we should be experimenting on children. Full stop. Do you? Hey, where did that occur? Oh gosh, how have we got here? How have we got here? It's time to end it all, but we need to say it with voices stentorian, and I'm asking the question. Please answer it. I'll see you later.